You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the Guy. And we have intense, entertaining, and educating, enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports family. I'm Big Q and in-house the guy, DC, is chilling. What's going on, DC?
I know, you tell me. I'm trying to see.
This podcast 172 on the podcast. I'd like to give a lot of love and shouts out to all those people that supported us along the way as we continue to climb toward 200 podcasts at 172. So tonight we have a very interesting we have a very interesting show for you guys on the Sports Coma. We're going to be covering the draft. That's right. We're going to present to you our first.
We're talking about Bill.
We're going. This first time around, we're gonna be covering you our first of 3 mock drafts.
Wait, we
before
doing 3? You
the
ain't
draft.
gonna tell me that. How you gonna tell them that? You ain't tell me that, man. We doing 3.
I thought I told you at the production meeting that we was doing.
It was too early, man.
Oh, I got you.
I'm
Okay.
kind of sleepy.
All right. So there it is. We're gonna do the first of 3 leading up to April the 26th draft day. You know, it kicks off 3 days worth of drafts as the Saints get ready, among other teams, to get ready to pull that fresh talent in from college to improve their odds of going to the bowl. Of course, this past year that happened, we were able to get some tremendous players out of the draft that contributed in a major capacity on both sides of the ball.
Runs
right.
All the way through.
We're looking good. Alvin Kamara, obviously the rookie of the year and the offensive rookie of the year. We have him on our team and the defensive rookie of the year. The first time that's ever happened in the history of the NFL.
Detroit did it.
Did they?
Yeah, very long time ago, though. It's like
okay, well, that don't
1920s
count.
or something.
That don't count. That was way before it was an NFL.
I didn't even know they was doing defensive rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year back then.
So, I mean, but that
not the
count.
1920s, but you get
and let's get it. Let's just get this out there. Nothing Detroit do count as far as the Lions go, okay? All right? Win something.
One of the only 4 teams that never been to a Super Bowl.
Win
right?
something, Detroit. No disrespect, but
them
win
and the
something.
Browns, man.
Right. With the Browns, they just need to get on out of here. But anyway, let's look at it like this, people. The Saints were able to get those 2 guys, and hopefully, what can we do this year? It's not beyond the idea to think that we can't pull in some more similar talent to help out with Jeff Ireland and Sean Payton working together on this draft. But this time around, we will give you our ideas based on the drafts that we did of who we think the Saints could or might take. Now, DC has his, I have mine as well, and we'll present them to you today on the Sports Coma. Also, toward the 3rd segment of the show, we'll do boxing. So we're doing a little football, and for our boxing fans out there, we'll be covering and recapping the Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker 12-round fight. We'll recap it, break it down, and we'll also have some topics behind it, such as is AJ scared? Who is Deontay Wilder and AJ's next opponents? And we'll also talk about a fight that was actually better than the main event that was on the undercard. They have had a heavyweight fight on the undercard of the heavyweight fight with Joshua and Parker. And one of these guys is a Russian named Alexander Povatkin. We need to talk about that guy because I think he'll be a serious contender, challenger to anybody posting belts. And we'll get into more of that story.
Someone argued with me and said that the Parker fight was going to be better than the Anthony Joshua fight.
Should have been.
Do they remember that?
I do. And it should have been. You know, I was obviously wrong. But because, you know, what the way I seen it is you had 2 fighters. You know, styles make fights. And I thought Anthony Joshua's style and Joseph Parker style.
Two counter punches?
Well, I ain't gonna say they counter punches because both of them have the ability to fight offensively and defensively. They're both solid fighters. And I was thinking that with those two styles of fighters, somebody would get more aggressive and try to outpoint each other. And what we seen was just was something else. But we'll get into that later on in the podcast.
Got a point. You got a point. I got a point.
So here we go. We're gonna start it off. DC.
I like seeing that from middleweights though, fast guys, because they
big
don't
guys.
always
I
have
don't want
power.
to see that. We want to see.
I don't want to see that from no heavyweights.
No,
though, man.
I
want to see
see
somebody hit the float.
I want to see exactly what I seen when I watched Deontay Wilder fight with Luis Ortiz, and what I seen with Povetkin when he fought David. What's the kid name? David Price. He chopped him down on a tree. Now Povetkin's a 6'1" guy. Price is 6'7", and he chopped him down like a tree.
Oh yeah,
chopped him down like a tree. But anyway, we're gonna talk about that when the time comes. But DC, let's get right on into this football news. Of course, we covered a lot of our other Saints news. Benjamin Watson signing, him coming back. Willie Snead's going out there checking with Baltimore to see if they want
still
him.
ain't
Cameron Meredith.
I think we're waiting until draft time to see what we're gonna do with Snead.
Right. I mean, but
maybe Baltimore is too.
Perhaps, and then we also have the situation where you have other things happening as well. The Saints are looking at drafting, trying out little guys. Talking to wide receivers or whatnot about potentially coming here. So that's pretty interesting. As the Saints obviously looking to try to upgrade the wide receiver position. Of course, you know about the fact that we didn't get Ndamukong Suh in that situation. So it's pretty interesting to see what the Saints what they're
Tampa
looking
Bay
at.
Got, what was that guy's name from the New York Giants? Jason Pierre-Paul. So we got to contend with that now. So we definitely gonna have to get some offensive line help in the draft at some point too. Yeah,
no doubt about it. That definitely is gonna come. But we're gonna go over the drafts as well to see what we could do. Oh yeah, the prospect that the Saints were looking at was a young safety, a cornerback actually, who can play. Who the Saints are looking at playing as a safety. Matter of fact, they told him that they see him more as a safety, and that's coming from Austin Gale. He shouted out via Twitter that the Saints met with former UC cornerback Lyndon Stevens, and of course Stevens is 6 feet 195. He was told by Saints personnel that they view him more as a safety than they would do at a corner position. So they out there looking at guys from the University of Cincinnati at cornerback, and then they talking to people. So it's very interesting.
This is a thing the Saints do that I actually hate. We do this and we try to get these guys and mold them, and I think it's based on a foundation that we have with the offensive line. We're constantly able to get offensive line guys and to convert them over to different positions, and it's successful.
Right.
But every time I've seen the Saints try this at any other position, it don't never work. Please don't draft that guy. Let that man play cornerback for somebody else. Don't mess his career up.
All right, listen, man. Don't worry about it. Look, Stevens family, we don't listen to what DC said, man. We'd be happy to have him on our team, man. As a cornerback or a safety, he can't be no worse than Deontay Harris.
At a cornerback.
He can't be no worse than Deontay Harris. So let's just get that straight.
Let him
okay.
play cornerback.
All right.
And we can have him in a 3-safety set when Coleman or Bell or one of them guys tired.
That's weird. Anyway, let's get right on to it, DC. Shall I go first or should you go first? Get the people your mock draft, the first, your first of the season. Sports Coma DC mock draft. Of course, he'll be having that posted on his page, so you can check it out. It'll be on the regular Sports Coma page as well. So here's DC with his 7th round mock draft.
Did the
of the
whole shaboing boing. I did it all.
DC, the floor is yours.
So at the first pick of the first round, the New Orleans Saints. Well, it ain't the first pick, but the first pick for me. Select DJ Moore of Maryland. Man, this guy's.
You took DJ Moore with your first pick, the 27th pick?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
He was projected to be maybe a 19th, 18th pick, so I felt like I got a steal.
All right. Well,
I took DJ Moore.
Any reason why you wanted?
Most people would say to take an edge rusher or potentially to take tight end. First off, I think it would suck to take a tight end in the first round. I look at the last 10 years or so. I don't know any amazing tight end that came out of the first round. Not saying there ain't one or two, but generally all the tight ends that are in Pro Bowls came in the middle rounds. So why would I select one in the first round?
Okay.
Just my thinking.
All right, that makes sense.
So I took DJ Moore because we're in limbo at the wide receiver position. And if you think about it, at this point right now, for this draft, right now, based on the moves we have, we basically only have 3 receivers. So, I mean, I would consider that a pressing need. So,
who's the third receiver?
The third receiver would be for
the Saints.
Ted Ginn. You count him as a third receiver, or you say the second receiver?
Who's the second receiver?
Damn, well, we only got 2 then. I was going to say Corey Fuller, because I remember we had him on the practice squad. He got hurt.
What about
he
the little fella? You ain't counting him as a
Tommy Lee Lewis.
Jerry
Lewis is kind of like, when you got some food and you cooking, and that stuff at the bottom, like right before you get to it.
That's not right, man.
Not the burnt stuff. The good stuff you can still eat.
I don't want to eat nothing from the bottom of the pot.
It's at the bottom of the pot, man. He's just the guy.
I don't think nobody would take that as a compliment. Anything pertaining to
it wasn't meant to be.
Right,
but anyway,
I
drafted DJ Moore, man. He's an electric guy. He reminds me of Steve Smith, actually. And I remember how much he gave us headaches, and I would hate to see a team like Carolina get him.
That's big compliments. Man.
He can catch a slant, take it to the house. He can catch a bubble screen, take that to the house. He can burn you deep, catch the ball. The only flaw I've seen in his game, he ain't learned how to that toe tap swag yet. Need to get that popping. He can even get the ball out the backfield on a reverse as a running back, and he can kick and punt return. And y'all know how much we need help there. Unless we want to risk the health of Alvin Kamara, who's also pretty excellent back there too.
4.42 speed at 40-yard dash. He's 6 feet tall, 210. Good size on him. Might be a good call.
Very,
DC.
very good prospect.
What we looking at? What's your next pick?
So moving on to the second round, we got Chris Herndon. Guess what his position is? This is a tight end, y'all.
Herndon.
In the third round, what we need to get him, like Jimmy Graham was, and he come from Miami, where we also had Jeremy Shockey, the last guy that I can remember that went in the first round that was actually pretty good as a tight end and kind of lived up to it. So we got Chris Herndon, man, big guy, 6'4", 253 pounds, big dude. Don't have any stats on his 40 time, but he had an excellent career in Miami. And the track record for Miami and us with tight end speaks for itself. So why not take a swing on this guy? Nobody's really talking about him, but I think he's an excellent tight end. So moving on to my next pick in the 4th round, we drafted Kyle Lalata out of Richmond. This is probably the 6th, 7th best quarterback in the draft. Coming out of Richmond after Kyle Falk. Basically, a guy that's pretty good. He put up some good numbers. You don't know what you're going to get, but you take a guy like this and you pair him with Sean Payton, you may have fireworks, or maybe not, and we just hit at it again next year. But a pretty decent prospect for where he was taken, and you definitely can't argue with it. This was the best quarterback available, and for a guy like this, who was projected to probably be a 3rd-round pick, to still be in the 4th round is pretty amazing. So moving on, and as you can see the trend, I went against him and I drafted all offensive people. So let me speed it up because Q gonna take over on the next side. I got Bo Scarborough, banging running back from Alabama, just in case Mark Ingram decides to leave. Big old bruiser, pair up well with Alvin Kamara. Then I got Will Clapp, who can also play the center position, who's a guard out of LSU. Pretty amazing offensive lineman. Got Sean Dion Hamilton from Alabama. They had 2 picks in the 5th round, so Bo Scarborough and Will Clapp, 5th-round picks. 6th round is Sean Dion Hamilton, Alabama linebacker. Enough said. Those guys pump them out. We got Kevin Tolliver from LSU. Great 6'2" cornerback. He's a lot better, in my opinion, than the number 1 guy. And my last pick is James Looney out of Cal. So Cam Jordan bring him up to speed. And we about to take our break. You know, we got to go pay them bills. So this Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy, and we'll see y'all on the other side. Q gonna give y'all his synopsis.
What's up, sports world? This Big Q from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Talking to you about the website, theposhlifestyle.com. That's right, poshlifestyle.com. A great website where you can get great products at great prices. They sell organic herbs, vitamins, supplements, water filters for your home, EMF and cell phone radiation protection, healing magnetics and healing crystals, personal protection devices like cell phones, stun guns, and mace spray, organic deodorants, shampoos, soaps, toothpaste, and more. They also sell 10A grade Brazilian hair. 10A music is available now. All kind of the latest downloadable mixtapes. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to theposhlifestyle.com. That's the Posh Lifestyle, life spelled with a Y, LYFE, style.com. Put in the Sports Coma for the 10% discount on your purchase. It's a win-win. So get your mind and body right with the Posh Lifestyle.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings and potential moves, unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Wow, what a huge honor it is to be named NBA 2K18 Legend Edition cover athlete. I really wouldn't be here without the guidance, love, and support of my mom and dad. Also, I'd like to thank my coaches, both college and professional. But most of all, I'd like to thank Kobe Bryant. He was the NBA 2K Legend cover athlete first. He's so awesome and handsome and has really nice natural teeth. Wait, what? I'll be looking at his teeth. This ain't over, Kobe. Payback's gonna be fun.
Let me tell you about a news site that carries the news that you would want to know. News that's not the same as the rest of lamestream media, but a site that lets you know about the most important news on health, economics, tech, entertainment, science, food, sports, world news, positive living, paradigm shift, and a lot more. Go to theposhreportonline.co. That's right, theposhreportonline.co. Learn more. And remember, challenge everything.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy. And we hitting you with our first of 3 NFL mock drafts covering the Saints. We're doing several rounds. Of course, you know, the Saints don't have a second round pick this year, but we doing all of the picks, full draft straight for Saints fans. And of course, DC gave you his in the first segment. He broke it down for you. It's my turn. In this segment, I'm going to give you my picks, who I think the Saints would do good to get. And then, of course, after that segment, we'll cover some boxing talk. We'll get right into it. But here we go, DC. Okay, now, a little disclaimer, I guess you could say, on my draft. Is the way I was approaching this draft. Of course, a lot of people say, well, hey, we need defensive end help. We need defensive help bad. You can never have too many defensive ends, but I think the Saints covered that base pretty well. And I've seen some articles from different people, it's credible, that made the argument that the Saints need a defensive end that can come in and start opposite of Cam. And of course, the Saints have really been trying to draft guys, Kakaha, who had the production at some times when he's healthy, but he can't remain healthy. So he's seen more as a situational guy. Then, of course, you had last year, the Saints reached and got out there and got the guy from Florida Atlantic, Trey Hendrickson. And Trey Hendrickson is a pretty good guy, too. He looked pretty well when he was out there. He got hurt a few times last season. So The issue is I thought about guys like Arden Key if they're available, but I went my direction, so I'll make here go our picks. Okay, with the first pick, the Saints have first pick in round 1, 27th pick in round 1. I took defensive lineman Deron Payne. Now,
good pick.
Deron Payne is one of those guys. He's 6'2", 300 pounds, and he's one of those stuffer guys. He had a bench press of 27 reps.
Ask Sonny Michael and Nick Chubb about him.
That guy there is a fantastic run stuffer. You'd be like, well, Q, why would you not get the pass rush? I think the Saints did a pretty decent job of signing a lot of guys. Of course, remember, they re-signed Okafor. Then you say, okay, what if he don't rehab? You still got George Johnson. You still got Kakaha. You still got El Kadim Muhammad. You still have Trey Hendrickson there. So it's a
everybody ain't gonna be hurt.
Right. I mean, I think they done adjusted all that.
We lost Okafor, Kakaha, Trey Hendrickson,
and still came and produced majority. Found George Johnson off the street. He came in and made it happen. So what I'm saying is, I think the Saints go in a different direction. Maybe if one of those top guys is there, or they fall to him, but I think the Saints would do better to go in the interior. And I seen what they were doing with them Dominic and Sue, and I was like, well, I see the Saints want to improve interior as well as the edge. So don't forget about the interior. And I took Deron Payne because he's a pusher in the center. He's also run stuff, and he'll fit well next to Sheldon Rankins and swallow up a block or two to help out the pass rushers. So that's my thinking. The third pick, because we don't have a second in the third round, I took Luke Falk out of Washington State. Now, Luke Falk is a quarterback from Washington State. Now, he's been there for a while out of Washington State. If he came out last year, he probably would have went up a little higher. This time around, I took him with the 27th pick in the third round because the Saints definitely need a quarterback. Of course, Lamar Jackson, DC's favorite guy, wasn't there. Is not going to be there. He wasn't available
when I picked Deron Payne.
So anyway, Luke Falk is my guy. I think the Saints can mold him into something. And then let's go to the fourth round. Chris Herndon, the Miami draft pick. I think DC, didn't you take Herndon too?
I had him in the third round, man. I couldn't wait till the 40. He was about to be drafted if I didn't get him.
Right. So Chris Herndon fell to me in the fourth round. I took him out of Miami. I do like his athletic ability. I do like the fact that he fits certain skills like a Jimmy Graham would have. And I think that the Saints do well with Miami, former Miami tight ends. You had Jimmy Graham. You also had guys like Jeremy Shockey, who wasn't drafted by the Saints, but of course he came out of Miami. So the Saints do well with Miami tight ends, and hopefully Herndon can do well for us. Fourth round and the fifth round, the Saints took, of course, in the fifth round, pick number 10. The Saints took Traquan Smith, the wide receiver out of USF. Central Florida. This guy is a pretty good little guy. He catches well. Last year alone, he had 50-plus catches, double digits in the touchdowns, 11 plus 100 yards in receiving yards, averaging almost 20 yards a reception. Traquan Smith is a burner. He catches the ball well, and he has good size. He'll be an excellent addition coming in to help out the Saints wide receiver core. Now, of course, the Saints have 2 fifth-round draft picks this year because of the trade that sent one of our favorite linebackers to Miami. In turn, they gave us a 5, and then, of course, Adrian Peterson trade gave us a 6 down the line. But Bo Scarborough out of Alabama, he fell down in this draft, and I said, you know what, Bo Scarborough will make an excellent addition to the Saints running back tandem, because remember when
great safety valve in case somebody get hurt.
Exactly, and DC, the one of the great things, man, you had the argument on a previous show about Darius Geis at that position. This is not the same issue as you're saying. He didn't take him too high. We got him in the second of the fifth, the 2 fifth round picks. He comes in. He's a guy that's totally different than what they have. He's a big guy that runs over people, short yardage back for you. Put him on the goal line. He guaranteed to average at least 4 yards a carry for you. Very big guy. He also can catch a little bit too. He can block really well. He'll fit well in there.
Perfect size running back. Huh?
Plus, you'll have Mark Ingram, who's from Alabama, and Bo Scarborough, who's Alabama. So those Alabama brethren, along with Tennessee, you have a full SEC backfield there with the Saints running back. So it'll be a nice.
Find a way to get him some touches too, even though he won't take anybody's job.
Right, exactly. So I like that. Let's move into the 6th round pick. The first of my 6 round picks. It is Christian Campbell. He's a big cornerback out of Penn State. Christian Campbell, nice call for me. I like the fact that Campbell is a big guy. He's 6'1", less than 200 pounds, but he's a rangy guy. He's long, and he has really good speed on him. And I think that he will be an excellent addition to that young cornerback core, because we need those big cornerbacks. You can be raised right behind the guys like Crawley and the rest of those guys. Patrick Robinson, now that he's back, he can help these guys develop. And of course, that's another new personnel, a new toy for secondary coach Glenn to play with. So that'll be.
Coleman is an interception artist, so I'm sure you can
work with
them guys too.
Exactly. Now going into the other 6th round pick is Cole Madison, big offensive lineman out of Washington State. I took a offensive tackle there because I think the Saints would do good to get, add some depth. Madison is a big guy out of Washington State. He'll be able to come in and play for you. And Madison played a little bit of the guard positions in college, a little bit of guard. He's familiar with a little bit of guard play, mostly tackle. So he's somebody. And remember, late in the draft, we'll find our talent, like we found a guy like Zach Strief, like we found guys like Jeremiah Bushrod, who's also on the team now. And we find those really good, talented offensive linemen later in the draft. And then with the final pick, the 7th pick, 7th-round pick, and the last pick for the Saints, I took an edge rusher named Quaylen Cunningham out of Texas A&M. And he's raw, similar to El-Kadim Muhammad, very raw. But he has the look, he has the ability, he has certain traits that you can groom to really show up. Like El-Kadim had those. He led the defensive lineman in sacks during the preseason. Not so much in the regular season, but because he didn't get to play. Right, he didn't get to play. But this guy's another guy that you can bring in and kind of help out. Quaylen Cunningham, look him up. And DC, that's everybody dealing with my first of 3 mock drafts. How you like it?
I like it, but I got one statement before we just get to the draft. You made me think about something, man. It was very perplexing. Like, why didn't El-Kadim Muhammad get to play? We lost all of our defensive ends. So I always found that very perplexing. And
they went and got George Johnson off the street before they gave El-Kadim Muhammad an opportunity.
In the preseason.
Yeah.
Again, this is against backups, but still, he's a rookie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to do in the preseason. You're supposed to shine. You're supposed to show out. So, I don't know. I found that very intriguing. But El-Kadim Muhammad could be our Junior Gillette. If you remember, we got a guy like that. Hopefully, he don't try to beat people's ass on the beach with a belt.
Yeah, we don't need no more Juniors.
No, look at the good side of Junior, though. We set Junior Gillette down. We basically shelved him for about a year or two. And then we started playing him, man. He did the same thing in the preseason. Did pretty well, and we started playing him, and he showed up. So if the Saints don't draft an edge rusher in the draft, that could be a hint that El-Kadim Muhammad is showing out behind the scenes. But I like your draft. I like mine more, of course. But I think we both had different perspectives on it, but we both had good drafts. And if not everybody, the Saints definitely will at least pick 1 or 2 of the guys that we pointed out.
Yeah, that's well said, DC. Because I know I was looking at a few of the mock drafts. Some about the bigger guys, the Todd McShays, the so-called draft gurus, Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Juniors and those type of guys.
The Saints ain't picking no damn tight end in the first round.
Well, Mel Kiper believes so.
Never happened.
That's one of the things that we said. You know what? We take a look at it, we'll do our own, and being that we follow a team, perhaps this might be a certain move. But everybody have their mindset on edge rusher, and for that first round pick. And I think it'd be surprised. I don't think you're that far off on the wide receiver pick. However, I really do think if you look really hard at some of the more key positions that the team could be utilizing, wide receiver most certainly is one of those things.
Dude, when you watch the games last year, Alvin Kamara,
there's nothing behind Mike Thomas and Ted Ginn Jr. now that Willie Snead is out there.
Alvin Kamara had to be a receiver. Not that, he has that versatility where he could do it. He absolutely had to for our offense last year. When we didn't have an Alvin Kamara, you could see it clearly. We were missing another receiver. As well as a tight end.
Well, I mean, the Saints covered some of that base. They got Ben Watson to come back here. Of course, we're going to be looking at Kobe Fleener as he watching his watch. June 1st comes, we definitely know he's out of here. But anyway, that do the rest of
it. Move this stuff
already. Well, he done robbed the bank already. He done stole the money anyway from us the last couple of years. But anyway, that'll do it for the Saints talk, the draft talk. We appreciate you on that. But stay tuned. We're coming at you with the boxing next. Stay with us.
Forget ESPN or Fox.
Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, GJ Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad GJ Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
Thank you for listening to the Pro Media Network, who provides hours and hours of free entertainment to you and yours. If you are benefiting positively from our content, please donate to help us grow our platform by going to www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network. That's www.patreon.com/the Pro Media Network, and support the true independent artists.
Check out the Crown They Ass World podcast with three kings covering all the news and issues that affect you and the ones you care about. Only on the PRO Media Network.
Hello, New Orleans. You're listening to the Sports Coma, your new #1 podcast on everything Saints, Pelicans, and a lot more. And now, here's your host, Big Q and the guys.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guy. In this segment, we got through with our football talk. Now we're going to hit you with our boxing talk. And this is for all of our boxing fans out there that have been waiting for this recap. Now, of course, this past weekend, DC, we watched the much anticipated bout of Anthony Joshua, the 3-belt champion, going against the 1-belt champion.
That was a bout? I thought that was 5 bucks.
Joseph Parker. Of course, both guys undefeated at the time. Joshua is 20-0 with 20 knockouts. Parker is 24 wins, 18 knockouts. So both undefeated champions collide in the ring for the first time. This is the first time in a while we've seen two heavyweights, undefeated champions with belts, fighting each other. It's been a while since that happened. But anyway, DC, we watched it. 12 rounds. It went to decision, a unanimous decision for Anthony Joshua. AJ won. Me personally, I hold my my comments to after this. But what would you? We watched the fight, man. What was your thoughts on this fight, AJ and Joe Parker, man? What was your thinking on it? Is your nose stopped up?
Nah, I was snoring.
Oh, that's what that is. I don't know what the hell you was doing. Okay, you went to sleep.
It was a snooze fest, man. It was a technical fight. Parker, in the beginning, I thought he stood a shot. He was scoring a lot of points, getting a lot of love taps. I didn't really see anything connecting. Anthony Joshua, every blue moon. When I say every blue moon, I mean like once every 3 or 4 rounds, he would get a real good shot on Parker. But it was a lot of, I guess, disappointment because of the expectations. You see Deontay Wilder fight, and you just think of the old time boxers. You start getting excited. Anthony Joshua was gonna fight. Oh, okay. So you remember when boxers used to show each other up, like I fought this guy, I knocked him out, in the 7th round. You know what I'm saying? It's street cred and talking trash. So you're looking to see Andy Joshua and Parker try to put on an epic fight, because the Deontay Wilder fight was a very good fight. A fight that I was mad I didn't record so I could go back and watch it again. But watching a fight like this, I was just kind of glad when it was over. It was like, oh, okay, Andy Joshua won. Like I thought, okay, so what's next?
Well,
the undercard was actually more entertaining than the actual fight, which is pretty sad. I mean, it's a main event. They had 80,000 people in the arena, and maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but everybody talks about Mayweather fights and how he didn't do anything. I found Mayweather fights to be more entertaining than this one.
Yeah, well, you know what? You're absolutely right. This fight, well, I wouldn't call it a snooze fest, but it was one of those fights where everything
it was technical.
It
was boxing.
I would say it was more technical than anything, because Joseph Parker wasn't a stationary fighter like most fighters that stand in front of AJ.
Easy for Joshua.
Right. He most fighters stand in front of AJ, and AJ just picks him apart. How he knocked Dylan White all around, and all these other people that he beat. I think Joe Parker knew that he wasn't. If he was going to stand in front of AJ, that he could not be a whooping post for AJ, because he knew he wouldn't be able to take all of those punches that AJ hit him with. Now, of course, a bit of sour grapes for Joe Parker, because after the end of the fight, they asked about the punching power of Andy Joshua, and he said, "Well, no, I've been hit harder by Andy Ruiz."
That's what he said?
That's what he said. The guy with the belly. The Andy Ruiz hit him harder than Joshua did.
I don't think Joshua really connected on one of his patented shots. Like, I saw a point in the fight where the referee, man, I don't know what the hell was wrong with that guy.
That's the next segment of my commentary.
He kept stepping in and messing stuff up. Like, we would get the fight going into a direction where, you know, a fan or us watching the fight will want it to go, where it's getting entertaining. They're starting to trade shots, and the referee will step in and break them up randomly for no reason. But anyway, my whole point was there was a time when they kind of got clinched up, and I mean, they weren't even holding each other for a good 2.5 seconds, and the referee steps in, and he almost got Joseph Parker killed, because Andy Joshua threw his patented uppercut, and he just missed him by like maybe an inch.
Yeah.
And he skinned him on side the face and kind of winked his eye. At that point, I was like, "Oh, we about to see something!" Oh,
no.
And nothing happened after that.
Well,
but he never really connected and got him with one of them shots that we seen him land on everybody else. So I guess maybe Joseph Parker can feel that way, because he ain't really fully connect. So I don't know about the guy with the belly, though, man. I think he could have picked another reference.
Well, it might have been an insult to him to say that a guy with a pot belly can drill me, punch me
I know, but I can't
even
take that. I can't take that serious, man. And then
Andy Ruiz was a champion. Now he took the belt from him.
He came out bumping Roy Jones. I can't be stopped. I knew he was gonna lose the fight as soon as I heard that theme song.
Hey, but listen, let me put it to you like this, though, DC. You're absolutely right about when you was talking about the fact that it was a very technical fight. Now, of course, whatever went wrong went wrong with this fight. Of course, Andy Joshua, 3 times that I counted that he had to retape the tape that was coming apart on his glove. The referee's ineffective ability to referee the fight was an issue, and then you had the elusiveness, if I want to call it that, of Joe Parker, who was dipping and dodging and double jabbing, but not really actually hitting AJ, just trying to keep him away so maybe he could set up a punch for himself. Now, we've seen a few punches that were landed, but I definitely don't want to see this fight again. I don't want to see Anthony Parker or Joshua again. You know, it was one of those fights. Anytime you get a fight on the undercard, a heavyweight bout on the undercard that was everything that you thought this fight, the main event, was supposed to be, you most certainly do not want to see this fight again.
I think the most disappointing thing was, like, if you didn't know any better, you would have never thought that this was a championship fight, where both people basically had belts on the line. You know, you would have never thought that by looking at the intensity of it. I'm not saying they didn't want it, but it just was no fire to me, man. And that's really what I was expecting when you have the number 1 fighter and then the number 3 fighter was Joseph Parker.
Right. I think it was number maybe 2 or 3, one of the two,
but
depending
you,
on where
you
you
said
have
it, man.
where you have Ortiz at.
Right. But you said it, man, and you've been saying it all along. Like, you know, and everybody says this cliche quote, styles make fights.
Make fights, yes.
I mean, maybe it's just one of those situations where the styles that these two guys have just didn't mesh well. I mean, it was almost like watching 2 middleweight fighters as opposed to 2 heavyweights. I'm used to seeing heavyweight guys. Everybody don't hit the mat, but, you know, somebody going to get hit like they got hit with a truck. And I didn't really see that.
No definite punches. You seen a few stickers, but not.
Yeah, he
nothing
got a few little shots, but
right, yeah.
I seen Anthony Joshua hit Parker, and he hit him, and it's kind of clean, but Parker just keeps walking into it and throwing combos and being active. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right. So, but with that said, now we know Anthony Joshua did. He was talking a little smack after the fight about Deontay Wilder, and let's kind of look ahead for the remaining of this segment. We got a little less than 4 minutes remaining. Let's look ahead. Who does Anthony Joshua, of course, Deontay Wilder, wants to fight? He wants to make it happen. They're the only 2 guys with any belts that count. Of course, Dylan White won the platinum belt, whatever the hell that is. But the main fights, the belts, AJ has all 4 of the heavyweight belts, 4 of the 5 main heavyweight titles. Deontay has his belt here in America. And Anthony Joshua is posting high saying, if you want, you know, I'm going to fight here in Europe, or we could fight in Cardiff. If you want to fight in Cardiff, we'll fight in London. Don't really care too much, even though his promoter, Eddie Hearn, is saying that sooner or later we're going to come to America to fight. And I've heard Jarrell Miller, Big Baby Miller is another guy they're looking at potentially fighting. Based on what you've been researching, who's the next fight for Anthony Joshua? Is it Deontay Wilder or somebody else?
It's definitely going to be somebody else. I would love for it to be Deontay Wilder, but as we know, doesn't Deontay Wilder have a title defense that's mandatory?
Well, I think unification trumps mandatories. So okay. if they set up the mandatory the unification bout, everything else is off if they're going to do that. So nobody else wants to see anybody else fight anybody else except for the belts fight the belts. Bottom line. What's your take?
That's true, and I definitely want to see that fight. I think anybody who's a boxing fan wants to see the Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua fight like before Parker. Like,
yes.
You know, they wanted him bumped out the way, but Deontay Wilder is going around saying Anthony Joshua was ducking him, you know, and Anthony Joshua is verbally saying that he wants to fight Wilder. So I think it's just a matter of time before it happens. Maybe the team of Anthony Joshua, I think they go find one of those guys where he can make him look impressive again, because this wasn't really an impressive victory for him. He had all knockouts on all his victories up to this point, and he actually won this one on a decision. And I guess as a true boxer, you actually want to win on a decision too, to show people you can go 12 rounds and actually fight technically and sound and still get the victory. And that's actually a lot of times what you have to do in a championship bout, because you're going to face a competitor that's worthy and that you have to take seriously, because if you make the wrong mistake going for the knockout, I mean, you could lose everything that you've ever worked for. So I definitely get it why this fight wasn't, I guess, entertaining as you would like it to be. So I see them finding an opponent of lesser caliber, but still kind of maybe in the top 10 for Anthony Joshua to go up against.
Let me pose this question, because we did get a few questions via Twitter. And one of the questions that one of the people submitted to us was, is Anthony Joshua scared of Deontay Wilder? Let's answer that one right now before the break.
I'm going to say yes, but not in the way that most people would think. I think Anthony Joshua is scared of every fighter that he comes across, because he goes out admitting it himself. He's afraid to lose. So if he's afraid to lose, that means any opponent that he encounters, he has some level of fear of fighting them, because he doesn't want to lose, which can ultimately be a good thing if you know how to channel that and you don't let it overtake you or overcome your mind.
Okay, well, that was interesting as well, DC. When we come back on the other side of the break, that'll do it pretty much for this fight. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll talk some more boxing news. We'll speak about what's next for Deontay Wilder. We'll also cover Alexander Povetkin's win over David Price. We also have some news on Triple G that we'd like to share, and his intentions to fight on May 5th, regardless of who he's fighting. We'll talk to you about that. And more Deontay Wilder news is he's been investigated by the Boxing Commission for comments that he made about wanting a body on his record during one of the morning shows. So we'll cover all of that on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. Stay with us.
I'm a Saints and Pelicans fan, so the only podcast I can get my fix is the Sports Coma with Big Q. The guy's intense, funny, and they always keep it real.
Check out the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Clear, clean, great-tasting filtered water. We're all thirsty for it. But in the U.S. alone, an estimated 2.5 million plastic bottles are added to the environment each year in search of the perfect drink of water. There has to be a better solution, and there is. Crystal Quest, a leader in the manufacturing of water filtration technology, has been providing clean, drinkable water for 20 years. Crystal Quest has been recognized by such leaders as Consumers Digest, Dr. Oz, and Colin Ingram's The Water Drinking Book, offering our customers the cleanest and most environmental-friendly drinking water at a rating of high purity. With Crystal Quest's water filtration technology, you can rest assured that your water will be crystal clear. Contact our network of authorized distributors and join our thousands of satisfied customers.
Just log into theposhlifestyle.com. Once again, that is theposhlifestyle.com.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Argue. The new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelicans.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Valley. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
Follow the Sports Coma on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. The best funny sports podcast in the country.
Welcome back to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys. We talking boxing, man. The first, in the third segment, the last segment that we covered, we talked Deontay Wilder. Actually, we talked about Parker and Joshua, and of course, we hit on a little Deontay Wilder. But in this commentary, we're gonna spit a little bit more about the Anthony Joshua Deontay Wilder potential fight. We'll cover it a little bit. Then we'll get into comments maybe about Deontay Wilder, about catching the body. We'll also give you some information about Triple G, whether he will be fighting whoever he's fighting. He intends to fight on May 5th. We'll tell you a few of the possible competitors against Triple G. So, but going right back, DC, until this situation dealing to the fight dealing with Anthony Joshua. And me and you talked about this all break and many times before leading up to the fight, is the fact of the matter is this situation. You can hear Anthony Joshua talking. I've heard all the rhetoric from both sides. Trust me, I do.
Anthony Joshua, he was yelling about it last time.
He was kind of making fun of Dylan White, who said something similar. And we've heard the talks about them possibly fighting Dylan White again. Because Eddie Hearn is promotes for him. He's on that fight team, and he's trying to do this Don King thing. Listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. The bottom line is, and we got a lot of AJ fans. I got love for AJ. I love his style. I think he's a true champion. But if you
I do too.
If you're a man out there and you're a true heavyweight champion, don't disrespect Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder is he says it himself, he's the most dangerous man in the game, and I'm not kidding you, he is. Anthony Joshua I guarantee you that the next fight that Anthony Joshua has will not be with Deontay Wilder. And I'm sorry to bust the sports fans' heart, but it's just the rhetoric of the promoters, the promoters, and I'm speaking of Anthony Joshua's promoters. They will not want they do not want this fight to happen because they do not want to pair AJ up against Deontay Wilder right now. They want to be able to keep him doing these fights where he fights lesser guys. You know, you're gonna go and fight Jarrell Miller, who's not even. I mean, Jarrell is a good fighter, but why would you want to go fight Jarrell Miller? And when you know if you're gonna come to America, you're gonna fight the next fighter, it should be Deontay Wilder. Because the promoters want to make money. They're talking fight Dylan White. Why should he fight Dylan White? Dylan White can't beat Luis Ortiz. Dylan White can't even beat the guy that Anthony Joshua just beat in Joe Parker. He can't beat those guys. And he beat up on Lucas Brown, who's basically a bum, a one-trick pony. So, I mean, these guys, they walk out with the chest but they're not fighting anybody. They're not fighting any true champions out there. You know, and Deontay Wilder would smash Dylan White to pieces, no doubt about it. He would beat Joe Parker. Parker would not be able to get away from him what he did to Anthony Joshua.
I think Parker would get knocked out.
Deontay Wilder would knock out Joe Parker
because he got that hand.
And do you agree with me? Not
Philly shell.
Luis Ortiz would knock out Joe Parker.
Yeah. I told you Luis Ortiz was a better fighter than Joe.
I agree with it. He's a tactician. He's more of a complete fighter. He's a better fighter. But that's all I'm saying is that's the commentary I wanted to bring about that. So, and it's already been put out there by Deontay Wilder that the next thing that they're focusing on is fighting everybody around Parker, so he don't have any other choice but to fight. There's not too many fighters that you can actually fight if you're the champion. I mean, there's less than 5 fighters that he can actually roll up and say, well, we're going to have this and be respected.
That's Deontay Wilder's tactic is to fight everybody.
I'm telling you what he's going to do. That's the only thing he could do is to force him to fight him by beating all of the people around him. I promise you that's what he's going to do. And that'll put pressure from the crowd to say, Anthony Joshua, see you running from us. If the man said, I'm going to take 10% or whatever, you could take 90%, and then on the second fight, we'll do, you switch that up. And you take what you want me to take in a rematch, and we can work it. And then Eddie Hearn said, that's Bullocks. That's Bullocks. He's not going to do that. How the hell you know it's Bullocks when you know you're not going to set the fight because you don't want that man to get his ass knocked out? Because so only one person
basically said he would fight almost for free.
He would fight for whatever you want. Nobody in the world would say that unless they meant it. Right. Whatever you give me whatever you want to give. And then on the rematch, you take what you wanted me to give on the first fight. Nobody would say that. So I ain't saying Joshua is scared. I'm saying his promoters will keep him away from Deontay Wilder until they fight other fighters. And then eventually, after they made some more money, then they'll come back. Because he already said 15 million something odd people. So, I mean, let's move on, man. That's my talk. So a lot of people want to know about that. Anyway, let's get into this comment made by Deontay Wilder. He's been investigated by the commission for comments that he made about wanting a body. Here's the quote, I want a body on my record. I want one. I really do. That's the Browns bomber. He wants one. I always tell people when I'm in the ring, like I'm the Browns bomber, everything about me changes. I don't get nervous. I don't get scared. I don't get butterflies. I don't have no feelings toward the man I'm going to fight. That's, end quote, Deontay Wilder on some comments that he made on a morning show about wanting to catch a body. And, of course, you know, he fought a heavyweight fighter by the name of Arthur Spicefalica, whatever his name is. And he knocked him out in the 9th round. And he was literally dead for 3 seconds.
So he got his body.
So that man almost died in the ring with him. And for him to say that kind of offset something very wrong in the boxing world. What's your comments on that quickly?
It is very what's the word I'm looking for, man?
Stupid?
It's stupid is one word. It's very insensitive as well.
Just stupid, man.
It's vicious. It's vicious. And Deontay Wilder, the dude's a monster, man. I mean, he eats, breathes, lives. He want to take your soul. It's almost like a Mike Tyson-esque. Don't this sound like something Mike Tyson would say?
Yeah,
Like,
he said he want to eat the babies and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just crazy nonsense. Like, he wants to destroy his opponent, literally. But I wonder if he just means it in boxing metaphor or if he's actually serious. I mean, you think he would really be a back alley fighter just so he could punch somebody out and kill him? I'm sure if a regular person, he probably could knock him out and kill him. I think this dude really gets into his character and what he does as a boxer, and it's almost like he goes into another zone, man, where he just sees red and he don't see people. It's like you're an object, and I want your body to like not move. It's very, very insensitive comment, they would say, especially dealing with the fighter that he had. He knocked him out in the 9th round, put him on his ass, and damn near killed him. Well, literally did kill him. And, he was allowed by the good Lord to come back to life, but he undertook him. So him saying that and actually having done it and actually having the capability to do it, I could understand why the boxing commission would come out and kind of ding him out. Now, what are they going to do? Are they going to suspend him? He's going to not be allowed to fight for so many times? They're going to fine him?
Well, we have to wait till the investigation, according to what the reports.
I don't find anything. It's an empty comment.
Well, I mean, they
could fine
him a certain amount of money. I don't see a suspension happening here. So, I mean, it ain't nothing like that.
It's empty comments, man.
Right. Well, yeah. Let's keep it moving. Let's move into the next topic. We're going to talk about Triple G now. Some news on those Triple G fans and Canelo fans is that Triple G said that he will fight May 5th regardless of who he's fighting. Of course, Canelo Alvarez is suspended by the boxing commission because he failed 2 drug tests within days of each other. So him being ready for the fight is a low percentage. But according to Triple G's promoters, and I quote, anyone who booked a plane ticket or who was planning to come to Las Vegas for Cinco de Mayo weekend to see Triple G fight, don't cancel your ticket because we're planning a Triple G fight on May the 5th, whether it's against Canelo or somebody else. So
Triple G say, the hell with that. I did all this training. I'm going to fight somebody.
Exactly. So a part of it means that, okay, the fight, they're moving the fight from the 20,000. A part of that means that the fight could be moving from the 20,000 seat T-Mobile Arena to possibly the 16,000 seat MGM Grand, which is more of the natural boxing aura that we used to watching a lot of these fights from. And some of the candidates that they looking at replacing Canelo if he can't go is one of the fringe contenders, Gary Spike O'Sullivan, 27-2 with 19 KOs. He's 33 out of Ireland, and they're looking at him to fight there. Okay. He's supposed to be fighting. He's supposed to fight on May the 4th on Golden Boy's ticket, and we'll see what happens with that. Then another prospect was Jamie Mugaya, 28-0, 24 knockouts, 21-year-old. He's kind of inexperienced, so he'll have to move up in weight. And I don't know if they consider it or not. Chances are they possibly not consider him. Then it's also middleweight contender Demetrius Andrade, 25-0, 16 knockouts. He's a former 2-time junior middleweight titleist. And he said he's ready, willing, and able to fight Golovkin on May the 5th. However, Andrade, a 30-year-old southpaw and a 2008 U.S. Olympian from Providence, Rhode Island, he'll get the call because he doesn't have much recognition. He might not get it because he don't have much of recognition or anything like that. So it's interesting. So they're looking at a few things, DC, to try to make this fight happen. And another potential component is out of Brooklyn, Sergey Deverchenko, 12-0, 10 knockouts. He's 32, a former Olympian out of Ukraine. So they got a few options. Nothing as appealing as the Canelo. So hopefully for boxing fans, we'll get that second fight if Canelo can come clean. Let's move into our final topic. DC, the undercard bout between Alexander Plavakian and David Price went 6 rounds with the mean Russian bulldog knocking that guy the hell out, man. You seen that fight, man.
The blind bomber.
What do you think about that fight? Because to me, that was the fight I really want to see with Parker and Joseph. It didn't happen. But at least we got that middle.
I think Parker and Joseph should have fought for 6 rounds, and they should have put that on the main ticket. It's pretty entertaining fight, man. That little short Russian guy. I don't know his name. I wasn't familiar with
Yeah,
man.
only one loss now, and that was against Klitschko.
That's a worthy opponent to lose to.
Hey.
The blind bomber.
Right, man.
You know, or whatever you want to call him.
He said he
I don't know if he got a nickname.
He says he don't want to fight nobody else. If in his next fight, he wants to fight Joshua.
Well, they should line it up, man. It would be an entertaining fight. He's a brawler,
I'm
man.
going to tell you this right now. Two fighters that JJ will not fight will be Povetkin and Wilder. I guarantee you that. They do not want that fight. Anyway, thank you for listening to us on the Sports Cone, Big Q and the Guys. If you love the show, remember to donate at patreon.com/PRO Media Network. From me and DC, peace.
You're listening to the PRO Media Network. The next level in entertainment. You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the Guys on the PRO Media Network.
At the Posh Lifestyle, I go there for all my health needs. They offer great deals on organics, water filters, healing magnetics, healing crystals, clothing, books, DVDs, vitamins, and a lot more. They even have free shipping when you spend over $100 on most products. With secure online ordering, fast service, and great products, I save some money and I'm improving my health doing it. It's a win-win. So do what I did. Go to shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. That's shop.theposhlifestyle.com. So upgrade your lifestyle with the Posh Lifestyle and love what you do.